In this video, I'm going to explain about how we can pass arguments by value and how we can pass arguments by reference. When a function is called, the arguments in that function can be passed by value or passed by reference. First of all, let's see how we can use passed by value option. Here we have a program with one function which is named as find the square. The purpose of this function is to return the square of a given number. Here we have a parameter named as num and it is of data type int, and within the function we are going to take the square of that num value. Once we have calculated the square of num, then we are going to return that from this function. And when we come to the main function, here we have int number and we have called find the square function 3 times. When this program executes, first of all it will create a variable named as number and the value 2 will be stored in that variable. Next it will execute line number 10 and this line will print the value returned from find the square function. Here we have cout, that is to print on the console, and find square is the function call, and here we have \n to go to a new line. When we call this find the square function, number 2 will be passed as an argument and within the function it will be multiplied by itself to create the square value. When we multiply 2 by 2, the answer is 4 and therefore the value of num will be 4 and the value returned from this function is then becomes 4. Therefore number 4 will come to this place and it will be printed on the screen. After executing line number 10, we have to execute line number 11, that is again to see out the value returned from find the square function. Even now, the value of number remains 2. Then, number 2 will send to find the square function and the square of number 2, which is 4, will return back to line number 11. Similarly, line number 12 also call the function find the square and send number 2 to that function. And it will return number 4 back to line number 12 and again number 4 will be printed on the screen. Let's execute the program and see what's the result. Here we see number 4 is printed 3 times. This method of passing arguments is called pass by value because every time it will pass the exact value which we have for this argument. For an example, line number 10, 11 and 12, all 3 places have find the square function calls and every time it will pass the value of number variable which is 2. Now I am going to do a small modification to this program. Use unsigned and also here again I am going to use unsigned. Unsigned usually refers a reference. That means we are going to refer to the exact memory location of a variable. As you are aware, number is an int variable. And also it has a specific memory location in computer's memory. When we pass the arguments by value, each and every time find the square function accepted only the value which is stored inside the number variable. But now because of this unsigned, we are not going to consider the value inside the number variable. Instead, we are going to refer the reference to that variable. That means if we are going to do any modification to this num variable, that will modify the original number variable itself, because this time instead of the number value, we are going to refer the memory location of number variable. For an example, when line number 10 executes, it will call find the square function with the reference to the number variable. Within this find the square function, we are going to use the reference to that number variable, and then we are going to multiply the value within that number variable. When the function is called for the first time, the value stored in number variable is 2. And when we use num into num, it will give the result 4, and number 4 will be stored within num variable. Now the num is not just the value, it refers to the number variable. Therefore, this calculation will change the value of number variable also. That means after executing line number 18, the value of int number will be changed as 4, and the value returned from this function is 4. Therefore, line number 10 will print 4 on the screen. Now, unlike the previous function call, line number 11 will call the function find the square, but the value is not just number 2 because it has been modified by the previous function call. Now, when find the square function called for the second time, the value we have here is 4. Therefore, now num into num means 4 into 4. Therefore, answer will be 16, and 16 will be stored inside number variable, because here again we have an sign that refers to the original variable. Thereafter, number 16 will be returned from this function to line number 11. Therefore, it will print number 16 on the console as the second number. Similarly, find the square function is called for the third time, and again this is going to refer the variable number by its reference, and therefore it will again modify the value of number variable. Now let's execute this program and see the result. Here number 4 is 2 into 2, number 16 is 4 into 4, number 256 means 16 into 16. This type of argument passing is called as pass by reference. Therefore, as a conclusion, when we pass the arguments by value, it will only send a copy of data to the relevant function. Therefore, any changes made to the passed variable will not affect the actual value. And when we pass arguments by reference, it will send the memory address of the stored data. Therefore, when we make changes to the passed variable, it will affect on the original data.